Click the links for Odysee and BitChute. And if you sign up on Coffee, you can get a wrench or some kind of connection to the Discord. I'm not sure how that works. Someone was wondering why there's so much gay now, and an SJW said, well, 5% of people under a certain age are LGBT. Maybe not, but most of that is non-binary, or what I kind of think of as soft trans stuff. If you remember what it was like so long ago to be a kid, you jump on to fads. It's social conditioning, which is why they are pushing this stuff so heavily now. So most kids are not actually gay, and it's fine if you are, but most are just wired straight. It's just you are what you are. But when they're in school, they want to feel special, and if they're not great scholars or athletes, most kids now are just kind of fat couch potatoes who are at least 20 pounds overweight. So they say they're queer or non-binary. They use special pronouns. They color their hair. They get to feel special while they're in high school. Then I was going to say that they get out of high school and put all this nonsense behind them. But that doesn't really... Social media has changed that equation. And follow my dumb logic here. I think kids and young adults stay longer in that immature mindset of high school because social media is very much a continuation of the worst of the pettiness of high school drama. So I think people are encouraged to stay in the LGBT and keep their oddball pronouns and colored hair and piercings and all that kind of stuff. Say you're in high school, you put they, them, or she, if you're a dude, in your bio and all that. And when you leave high school, you sort of grow out of it. It used to be you'd leave high school and you'd go to college, or you'd just leave high school and you would feel free to put all that stuff behind you. You could take what you learned and you could kind of work on becoming a new person. But it seems like nowadays with social media, the rise of social media in the past 15 years being so tied into people, I think people are kind of screwed now because they're tied to the past. Because you might feel pressured not to change your pronouns or change that bio, a lot of that kind of thing. A lot of these people on Twitter, they are on the radar because they're on my radar because they're anti-Comicsgate. So when I check their profile, it's all rainbow, they, them, and surface level, echo chamber, left wing, brainwashed takes. And that's it. There isn't anything else to them. When we were kids, we might raise our own chickens. I had a chicken coop that was like overbuilt to be raccoon resistance. I was going to say raccoon proof, but nothing is raccoon proof. Or we'd go to 4-H club and have farm competitions and that kind of crap, who had the best looking cow. Or we'd be into skateboarding or BMX. I used to love, we put these plastic things underneath the board so you could rail slide easier. Rail sliding on a fresh paint was just so much fun. Or BMX or gardening or I don't know, playing a musical instrument or science fiction. But these rainbow they, them kids, they play video games, they eat junk food, and they get outraged on Twitter. That's it. That's their whole life. Back in my day, things were better back in my day. Yes, and things were better back in your day because the past 20 years have been very, very weird for people. So every prior decade was better. Yes, your elders are not lying to you. Things were better back in the 50s. We did things as kids. Kids today react to things. Anyway, I think that, God, we used to go out on boats and like target practice and just get hammered. We'd probably get swatted, like the Coast Guard would probably. Anyway, so they get out of high school and they still have all this rainbow BLT stuff, and they've got all their followers and mutuals, and they're all connected because of that profile. So they end up kind of trapped in the gay. Big gay is like big pharma. It's the military industrial gay complex or something. My point being that there should be a new term for these people. Bobby, you're gay. Did she just make him gay? Yes, she did. Queer in name only. And I was going to say that they will grow out of it, but the brainwashing has been so serious that I wonder if they will grow out of it. It's like adolescence is lasting for some people. I don't know, like Mark Wade is like lasting into his 50s. Sexually, people are in a weird time right now, and it's kind of the last 20 years, like post 911. When I was a kid, we got drunk and we had sex. That's how babies got made. And people got married. And that system actually seemed to work out pretty well. Nowadays, if you're trans, but not really, and you're just kind of questioning, then you're kind of taking yourself off the reproducing market during your prime years. And do whatever you want to do. If you're legitimately wired gay, then go be gay, enjoy it. But make sure that it's your decision and not brainwashing, is what I mean to say. Social media is having a very weird effect on young people. It highlights the extremes. That's why people think everybody is BLT, because on Twitter, 20% of the users are responsible for like 80% of the tweets. The other thing is the mainstream media only reposts and blows up content that is degenerate. Kids raising chickens isn't in the news, but boys dressed as girls and dancing for men is stunning and brave and living their truth. Yeah, it's like, what do they say? It's like a vegetarian dog. We know who's making the decisions. The media absolutely has an agenda. On Gab, people will post messages from Twitter. The Asian victims stuff that's going on right now is reposted on Gabs, and then you follow it back to Twitter, and it's an Asian reporter reporting on an Asian victim of those recent attacks, in quotes, and it will get like 40 likes. Very few retweets. They almost never get blown up. I saw one that blew up, but even then it blew up to the point of like 15,000 likes, which on Twitter is not much, and most of them are less than 100. It's shocking. And even if it does get retweeted, it's by small individual accounts that are doing the retweeting. No celebrities or non-Asian reporters will retweet it. And I feel for the Asians who are like, they're this small community in America and on social media, and they're the only ones retweeting this Asian stuff. That's it. It's really spooky to say, like, if you're Asian in America right now, you probably feel like you're absolutely alone, and you're not. We're with you, but people are like, why aren't the celebrities retweeting it? Why is it only Asians who are retweeting the victims of this recent? It's not recent. This stuff has been happening in Chinatown, in LA, and San Francisco way before Trump. It's always happened. Asian victims of street attacks. It feels like they probably exist in a media vacuum because the blue check marks are terrified to retweet it. And that's what I mean by suppressing some messages and pushing others. Then the platform itself can push or suppress certain messages. It's like, how come that's not trending on all social media platforms all the time? They push some messages, but they're hiding others, and they're hiding these Asian victims because it doesn't fit the narrative. And you notice what I'm not saying on Twitter or on YouTube, because I'd like to stay on, but anyway. So when a woman in a park is scared because somebody threatens her dog, who the guy actually admitted threatening her dog, it gets 40 million views. But when an elderly Asian is deleted in the knockout game, it doesn't get a fraction of the views because the media has an agenda and they are evil. So they blow up the story of like 100 trans boys, but that's like 100 out of 1/3 of a billion people. The publicity doesn't make sense until you just accept that they have an agenda. Does the Covington Catholic school kids ring a bell? Gee, the media knew. They saw the complete videos. They knew what was going on, and they went with their narrative anyway. That should terrify people. The media hates you. He's absolutely anti-white, and you go, oh, it's a far-right conspiracy theory. Bruh, turn on CNN for 2 months with a notebook and a video and a screen recorder, and start screen recording and start taking notes. Where's I going with this? All right, they are evil people, and I mean that like biblically evil. Think where we are now. We have kids being permanently mutilated because if you complain, you'll be fired and blacklisted. Look what happened to Owen Benjamin because he dared to complain that maybe it's not such a good idea to torture children. Am I saying that they want to turn your kids gay? Yes, absolutely. And it's a weird vibe knowing that public schools are teaching this. They actually think they know better than the parents. Right now, it is sort of peak Weimar, pre-Civil War / World War III. You literally can't trust the schools to teach your kids, but because of the government's policies on the country's interactions with other countries to the south of us, causing wages to be driven down, two parents have to work to survive. So homeschooling is very difficult. You can see how the puppet masters plot and scheme, and you know I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat. We actually have Drag Kids Story Hour. That is the insane 1930s Germany we live in. And all this sounds nuts, and I never thought I'd be making videos talking about this, but it's actually happening. All this stuff is actually happening. And it's actually weirder, darker, and more insidious than you think, because we are frogs in a slowly boiling pot of water. There was a time when we would be seeking redress of grievances quite zealously, but now we don't want to get fired, so we remain silent. That's why those Asian attacks aren't getting talked about, because nobody wants to get fired for being Islamophobic. Modern America is embarrassingly unrecognizable. When I rant and rave about companies being narrative companies and not profit-driven, here are some examples. The latest Batgirl. Ruby Rose was the first one. A beautiful, beautiful girl. Breastless lesbian, person of color, and I think she weighed 100 pounds. The second Batgirl is another breastless lesbian, POC. Nobody watched the fair or dusky countenance version because it was a diverse abortion. And there's a guy on YouTube who does reviews of Batgirl. I hope he's making some cash from the YouTube advertising or his PayPal, because it's like even jokingly saying, "Oh yeah, it's torture to sit through. Go watch an episode." It's like, they really made this? Like, this past editing? This is worse than what I would expect high school kids would make if you gave them a budget. Literally, it's that bad. If they were motivated by profit, they would have used a blonde with huge jugs. Someone like Pamela Anderson in Barbed Wire. Movies in the 90s, 80s and 90s were friggin' fantastic. People can't wrap their heads around companies making propaganda knowing that they will underperform. They can't fathom why a company would behave so irrationally because they are globalists. I feel like people think so many of the conspiracy theories are made of pixie dust. Then they start searching on DuckDuckGo and their red pill journey begins. Like I said, if you really want to honk pill someone to Joker world, get on Twitter, follow 500 of those blue check marked accounts, and start noticing. Don't bother looking up cultural Marxism and the Frankfurt School or the Bolshevik Revolution on YouTube, and the other hot words I can't mention. Look them up on Odysee, BitChute, GabTV, PeerTube. This isn't Alex Jones stuff. This is biblical Sodom, Gomorrah, actual levels of evil. Little boys dancing in front of men at bars. You only get that by slippery slope of tolerance. Some things shouldn't be tolerated, like drag kids. You get all this stuff when you don't have a nation. You've got a commercial zone controlled by billionaire leaders of finance, NGOs, who don't feel loyalty to any one country because they're globalists. They can incorporate anywhere. They can live anywhere. The world is just their plaything. The country is just a money farm for them, with slave labor where the slaves don't know they're enslaved. You won't own anything and you'll be happy. You don't own anything now. Try not paying taxes or property tax. If you own real property, you don't really own it if the government may simply take it away. At one time, remember the harbor, the T? You pay taxes to the government so they can fight wars for a country I can't name in the Middle East and fund military bases all over the world. Why do we give money, billions, to the Middle East? Why do we fight wars 10,000 miles away? Why not use that tax money for healthcare? These are all good questions, and I'm sure there is a simple explanation, like giving Israel $5 billion a year is more important than giving Americans healthcare. And there goes the channel. Oh well, it wasn't monetized anyway, and never will be because commercials suck and the monetization probably wouldn't amount to much anyway. So yeah, this is about the race and the gay swapping characters, but it's all connected, man. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe if you want to support the channel on PayPal, Odysee, or PayPal Coffee, Patreon, whatever. And like I said, there's some coffee just sent me an email. Like you can get some kind of special thing in Discord, but like Discord right now is kind of a backup because we're using this other private chat on the Salty server. So when that goes down, we'll swap over back to the Discord and use that until we get kicked off Discord and then go somewhere else because free speech will find a way. Anyway, sign up to Odysee because right now I think that is kind of where people are going, and people have signed up to Odysee, so the support has been great lately. Thanks for that.